Hello guys, welcome back to Too Skid to Scrap. We're at it again. The last episode we sheared that bolt off inside the rocker cover. Let's see if we can get it off this week and like drill it out or something and see if we can get that rocker cover back on. Struggle with the engine, so let's get that engine back in and let's have a little mess about with some other bits and pieces. It's a bit of a bitty episode, so let's roll the credits and let's go. Right, I've come back to the bike. Been away from it a couple of days. I think after snapping that bolt, I've just had enough. Come back now. I've brought my heli coils, M6, so hopefully they should be all right. I want to try and easy out first, see if I can actually get that bolt out, and then I can use the original threads, sort a bolt out or whatever. I've got the wiring loom done on the front end, so I'd like to get the wiring loom back on the bike. I think I can do that before I do the engine. I was going to do it after, but I feel like if I can hang it in certain points, at least get it up to the back, get what I need to into the headlight, that'll be a good start to get me back moving into doing some more on the bike, because that bolt sort of left me feeling a bit, another bolt. All right, but I'm gonna have a go at this one myself. Should be all right. Say that now, but this bike seems to fight me every step of the way. We just want to make it look pretty, so I'll put you on time lapse and get this bolt out, shall we? Somewhere far beyond, keep chasing them and I never rest for a day. There's something I don't do. I feel the wind blowing my face, but that's alright. I smile at people passing by. Some smile back, some might not. I'm always looking for a shade when it's hot. I've been low key and I'm trying to stop. God, I'm feeling good. Yeah, but we had to drill it out, put the heli coil in it, but that's Loctite in all heli coiled all the way through. Actually went a lot smoother than I was expecting. It's been quite worried about doing that, snapping a drill bit in there and then never been able to get it out, but we've got it. I'll find a bolt at some point. I think I'm going to move on to putting this wiring loom back in, I think. I think that was a pretty productive hour or so. We've got all the wiring loom back in the headlight. My new clocks, the wiring goes into the headlight so it can stay waterproof in there. Clocks are sort of temporarily on in place. So just needs a little bolt in there to get it in the right place. So that's looking pretty sweet again. We tidied up that area, I think, quite a bit. So there's like, in here, just looks a bit tidier, I think, than it did before. I think once that's all sorted out as well, I think it might look all right. Really know if you've got any suggestions on how to tidy that up any better. I think from most angles it looks okay. Got the wiring loom back in down here. Got to work out where to put all this once I've got the battery tray in. But we actually got the bolt heli coiled and sorted, so this engine can go back in now. I think we were going the wrong way about it before. I'm going to try to get the head up inside first and then try and rock the back in. I know a few people say come in from the side and drop the frame onto the engine, but I think my bike's a bit too far through to do that, but we can see what we can do. I've also trimmed the back of the mudguard out. I've got to clean up the edge and stuff and give it a final fit up, I think, obviously. It's It's in place. It doesn't go any further than the back of that. I think that's going to look once tidy. I need to drill a hole here and here for my number plate to come out of. And yeah, most of this is just going to be hidden now, but it's just one step closer really, isn't it? One step closer. So we're back at it, and the last point on this bike I felt was very productive. We got that bolt undone on the engine, so we're going to try and get this engine in today. I'm going to try in a couple of different ways. I want to get the front up first and then bring the back in line. I think that's where we were going wrong last time, but if we can get the engine back in, I can get that exhaust on and we can start seeing that part of the bike come together and it not just be a rolling shell. That'd be nice. And then a little bit later on in the episode, we're going to go and do some of the stuff that's going to make this a tribute bike to my dad, ready for like the final aesthetics of the bike. We need to make some side panels still, so I've got myself a nice sheet of pine for that, and I'm going to make wooden side panels because my dad was a wood turner. Just have that wood effect in nice places. Should really like tie in what it's about with my dad. So yeah, let's try and get this engine in, and we'll go from there.
It's been a while since I ran into you on a street. I wonder if you moved. Hope everything is going amazing for you, and you're not feeling blue. I feel the rain pour down my face, but that's alright. I smile, people passing by. Some smile back, some might not. Well, I'm always looking for a shade when it's hot. I've been low key and I'm trying to stop. God, I'm feeling good. Yeah, but when off I go. Pretty afternoon, it's a best boy. Looking at the skyline, looking back at my life, and I gotta say it's one of a kind. Yeah, but when off I go. Pretty afternoon, it's a best boy. Looking at the skyline, looking back at my life, and I gotta say it's one of a kind. I slip to the right, it to the I slip to the right, it to the I slip to the right, it to the I slip to the right. God, I'm feeling good. Yeah, but when off I go. Pretty afternoon, it's a best boy. Looking at the skyline, looking back at my life, and I gotta say it's one of a kind. Yeah, but when off I go. Pretty afternoon, it's a best boy. Looking at the skyline, looking back at my life, and I gotta say it's one of a kind.
We're in. We've got it in there. We had to take this side casing off, which is what I saw on other YouTube channels as well. It just made it life so much easier. The bottom just slid in. I am going to have to do a bit of cleaning up on that side casing because we've scratched it. But we're in, guys. We're going to put this frame piece in that goes to so that we can put the bottom bolt through underneath. And then we've put the two top bolts in the wrong way round, but at least if we get the bottom one in, we can swap them two over as well. But yeah, that's a hard part to do, but she's in. So after the fuss of the bolts in the head not coming out for the exhaust, I think this I bought these studs and nuts. I think they're a bit of an upgrade really. I'm gonna put the studs in. They're stainless steel, and it means next time I haven't got to take the studs out. I can just take the exhaust off with the nuts, and I think the nuts will come off a lot easier. Definitely going to put some copper grease in there as well, or something, so that they don't seize. Some sign of anti-seize. So yeah, I'm just going to put these on, and I want to fit up the exhaust so we can see sort of what this bit of the bike's going to look like. Well, it turns out those studs are far too short. I need to have a look to find some other ones. Just found a bolt for now, just to put it on. I think engine and the exhaust looks absolutely sweet. I love it. I actually love it. And I can't wait to see the tank on and everything else. Let me know what you think, guys. Engine and exhaust temporarily back on. I think that's looking good. So part of the tribute to my dad is the fact that he was a wood turner. So I am, instead of doing the Suzuki emblem on the tank, I've decided to use my dad's logo that he would put on all the things that he's turned. This is one of the many things that my dad turned for me. It's an old oil pressure gauge with, you know, with my first ever business card on it, and it's turning a bar. It's got a bit on the side, but my dad always had this logo, JFC, for John Fraser Cups. So I bought some veneer just here, if I can get it out, and it was £2.50, but I think this would be a lovely piece of, I think it's a mahogany of some sort, and I'm going to do a JFC to go on his tank. So I will, hopefully I'm going to draw it on the paper, cut it out, stick it onto the wood. I've got a selection of knives to try and cut this with. So let's see how this goes. I'll stick it on time lapse and let's make these emblems. Made a template. That's what I'm going to be making. I've embellished it a little bit, but that is pretty much Dad's logo right there. I'm really hoping this works out because I'd love to transfer this onto this wood and use this as the emblem on the tank on both sides. And I think with the colour that I'm going, sort of with matching the seat and the colour of the tank and everything's going, this should really pop. And, you know, real tribute towards Dad, and, you know, the love of wood that he had. First one started out as a good attempt, and then I managed to cut through this bit here, and then the whole of the loop of the F disappeared. So I moved it along. I need to get 2, and I've probably got enough to do 3 more out of this. So I hope I can get 2 good ones. I'll stick you back on time lapse and another go. I've got some other blades here, scalpels. Maybe that'll work better. Let's give that one a go. go, one down. There's definitely bits that aren't together there, but I've taped on the back and it will hold it together enough for me to be able to get these on the tank. I'm definitely going to have to lacquer them or something, because obviously in the wet or whatever, these aren't going to last very long. So I'll get them on the tank and put some lacquer over the top. But they look wicked. That's it, they're both done. That was definitely a chore. I'm gonna have to mess around with these, I think, because there is a few cracks in them. But it's not, it couldn't be helped. It's cutting through the grain and all that. There's just not strength with the size they are. I don't know, how do I compare these? This is where you can tell from the size of my hand, really. They're not very big. But hopefully, against the colour I've picked of the bike, this will really stand out. Let me know what you think, guys. It's part of the tribute to Dad. It's been a productive episode for me. I don't know how much of it you wanted to watch, guys. It's part and parcel of building a project bike. Something that's not really been run or maintained for a few years. Seems like every bolt on the front of that engine has been rusted in, where it's just, you know, years on wet roads and other things like that. But let's get it to the point where there shouldn't be any more issues like this, you know. I'd like for this bike to stay in my garage, come out on nice days, come out when we're out on rides. It wants to be my bike. I want to ride it. I want to use it. So yeah, let me think what you've done, what we've done today. Is there anything you would have done differently? I've got to get those studs sorted out so that I can actually push this exhaust on properly. It's got to come off at some point anyway, because we've got to rebuild, put the carbs back on. We've got to get the engine running and sorted out and all the wiring done. So I think that exhaust could be one of the last things to go back on. Let me know, what do you think we should do next? I'd like to get some painting done for the next episode. So stay tuned for that. And subscribe if you don't mind. Give us a thumbs up. And we'll wait for the next episode. See you then.